Peter Ate. I live in the United States. I had a gunshot wound on my tibia bone since 2019 that I came to visit my family in Bamenda, and these boys, I don't know them, they shot my tibia. That I was very, very fine after I had the operation. Then out of a sudden, after some hours, as my children told me, because by then I didn't even know what was happening. My children told me after some time I started agitating and losing my breath. And then they rushed me to the hospital where there was no oxygen. And then they called one doctor, one Egyptian doctor that practiced here in Boya, called Dr. Suleiman. And he rushed me to Douala with an ambulance. As they told me, they said while in the ambulance, I died twice, and Mr. Solomon resuscitated me. And he took me to the Douala General Hospital, and I stayed in coma for 5 days. But what is really important is, how did I come back after those 5 days? I went to somewhere in that coma, and in a desert where you don't see no trees, no grass, nothing but sand. And I saw 3 women sitting. There's a game in my tradition called Bere. They were playing Bere, a small game that teenage girls used to do. So they were sitting 3 of them and playing that game. The one that faced the direction that I was coming was my mother. And she took up her head and saw me and said, "Hey, who is this and where are you going? Go back." Those are the 3 words she used. And then I discovered myself after 5 days. Then I came back. That is what I saw. And I just want people to know that God spoke through my dead mom to bring me back. I want people to understand that there's somebody up there called God. Don't just think that everything that you have here is okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And there's somewhere you go after this life. You go somewhere. I actually went there and back. And I don't know. I think the doctor will explain what was happening, because by then I was already in coma. I didn't know what was going on. I think the Dr. Solomon can explain what was happening, how he did to take me to Douala. And what happened in the ambulance and so on. I don't know.
Mr. Peter, I got a call midnight that we have a friend in the hospital here. I'm not going to mention any names. In one of the hospitals here, and I went to see him. I took the ambulance and I went to see him. He was convulsing, he was tremoring, he was extremely agitated, and he was unconscious less than 24 hours after a bone surgery. So we tried to get in touch with the orthopedic surgeon that has done the surgery, asked if the patient was given heparin, low molecular weight heparin, for clots, because after this kind of surgery, the patient is at high risk for what's called pulmonary embolism, which is basically clots throughout the lung or clots to the brain. But we failed to communicate with the doctor. The nurse didn't know whether he was given or not. I discussed with the doctor on duty, on the emergency doctor at the hospital, and we have decided that he should give low molecular weight heparin immediately before the expiration of the first 24 hours. This is what was very crucial. When we took him to Limbe Hospital for a CT scan, that was about 4 o'clock in the morning already. He already had died on us 2 times. We have to resuscitate 2 times. Ladies were screaming in the back of the ambulance that's it, he's not breathing anymore. So actually, Mr. Peter was actually dead. We resuscitated him 2 times or 3 times. We rushed him to Limbe General for the CT scan to see. Actually, he was not moving the left side. Was it the left side, Peter? No, he did the right side. The right side, he was not moving the right side, upper limb and lower limb. He is already in stroke. So what we did actually with the low molecular weight heparin injection before the expiration of the first 24 hours was crucial. And this is what actually he already manifested, with the Nimbe general, he already had paralysis of the right side. And we did a CT scan we looked, and that was already ischemic, stroke to the left side of the brain that manifested in the right side of his upper limbs, hands and legs. Anyhow, situation was getting a bit complicated. We worked on him all night, and then we decided we'd take him to Douala General. So we did. When I took him to Douala General, he was still unconscious. He was very agitated. He was convulsing. We did our very best, resuscitation, and we got him there. We spoken to the doctor in the emergency room in the Douala General. We agreed on the protocol of treatment, and I told him what I strongly think. It's pulmonary embolism and a very high possibility of septicemia because the full blood count came from Nimbe with high leukocytosis. So after the surgery, he was two things. First thing is septic shock. Second thing is massive pulmonary embolism. It could be also fat embolism. So given the heparin at the first 24 hours was crucial, and that's what actually saved him. Then we put him on intensive antibiotics in Douala General, and I'm telling him, he came back to life. He died with me on the ambulance 2 times. And so this is Mr. Peter. He went there and came back. So we just want people to know that this life, no matter
what happened to me, I believe every inch of it, God is seeing it. And that's why God brought me back. And I will continue doing what I'm doing.
That's it.
Nobody appreciates you but God.
That's it.
When people say, you are this, you are that.
Don't listen. Just continue doing what you're doing best.
Just continue doing what you are doing. If somebody hates you, love him. If you say good morning to somebody and he or she doesn't answer, tomorrow you meet him, say it again.
Yes.
God is answering for you.
We're only here for a limited time.
That's it.
Everybody will die. Death is the only fact of life.
You cannot spend more than 100 years here. You go.
We're all going.
We go.
What you do good is what remains in this life.
That's it.
What you do good is what remains in this life.
People
money, you
remember
don't go with money. You don't go with money.
Nothing.
Only the good act, the good deeds that you leave behind. Yeah. This is what you take with you.
And people will remember you with that.